David Schwartz recently came out and said that he believes the XRP ledger is positioned perfectly to be a critical piece of infrastructure for the world's financial system. In this video, I want to break down exactly why David Schwartz thinks that's possible, because I recently watched back an interview that came out just a couple weeks ago, and I think David Schwartz gives it some serious hints why XRP is positioned better than any other cryptocurrency out there. I also want to go over some XRP price charts at the end of the video. We're watching something historic take place right now, and I believe it's going to cause a lot of money to flow into XRP. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So like I said in the intro, David Schwartz recently came out and said something that I believe is the most bullish thing I've heard David Schwartz say in a while. And that's that he believes the XRP ledger is strategically positioned to be a critical piece of infrastructure for the world financial system. Now, these are a lot of things that the Ripple team was saying in the early days, but because it was so early, right, obviously they were going to shoot big and try to achieve all those things. But a lot of time has passed and we really haven't heard a lot of updates on where the XRP ledger stands in this entire world economic situation. But David Schwartz coming out recently and commenting that he believes the XRP ledger is still positioned pristinely to become a critical part of the global financial system, in my opinion, tells a lot about what is happening behind the scenes. It's always great to get updates from people on the inside and be able to gauge their interest on sort of where XRP stands, where Ripple stands, because they're going to know a lot of information that we're necessarily not privy to. Ripple does a lot of things behind the scenes with governments and different organizations who might not want the public to know what exactly they're doing with Ripple and XRP. And so to hear David Schwartz, the person who can see all these things going on in the background, talking about how the XRP ledger is positioned to achieve these extremely lofty and bullish goals, in my opinion, is only a very good thing for the success of XRP moving forward, and lets me know there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we're not necessarily privy to. Now, with that said, there's also a critical part to this, right? How does that actually take place? How does the XRP ledger become this critical part of our financial system? And why is it going to be the XRP ledger and not some other cryptocurrency network? Well, recently David Schwartz did an interview where I believe he breaks down one of the most important things that people are severely misunderstanding. So many people are looking at the adoptions of these networks right now and saying, oh, well, Sui has all these retail traders, and then Solana has all these meme coins, and Ethereum has these different DeFi protocols. But what people don't understand is we're still in the very, very, very early adoption stage of cryptocurrency. A lot of people, in my opinion, are looking at the adoption of this technology completely wrong. They're looking at whatever has momentum right now through retail activity and saying, you know what, that's probably going to be the winner. But if you listen to David Schwartz actually talk in this interview right here, you're going to realize that he's looking at the market completely differently. And it doesn't seem like he's really coming at this from it's his idea or a thesis. It almost feels like he knows this is going to be the way this shakes out. And in my opinion, it goes to exactly what we talked about earlier, which is that he likely has already seen and is working on a lot of partnerships that let him know that what he's going to say in this interview is very likely the case. I want you to listen up to this and we're going to break it down, but it's such an important thing that I think most of the market is missing.
I feel like we really are on the cusp of a mass institutional adoption, both of DeFi and of other blockchain technologies. I think this is also like one of the key obstacles to mass retail adoption. A lot of people in the space previously thought that retail adoption was like the big wave, but I think institutional adoption is a precursor. You have to connect to where people are. You have to go to where the value is. You can't build a new financial system from zero, ignoring the existing financial system where everybody's money is, where all the value is, where the real world is, trillions of dollars in value. You can't just say, oh, forget about all that. Let's just build something new over here. That doesn't work. And so I think this wave of institutional adoption over the next year or two is going to be what's going to pave the way for mass retail adoption. And then we can deliver on those promises. Like, we all want to bank the unbanked, but like the unbanked, like they have to be able to spend their money to buy groceries and pay their phone bill, and so we have to have that institutional connectivity. And I don't think there are any obstacles. I think that's and I think this conference shows that.
So I think that's super interesting. Two very important things there. One, David Schwartz doesn't even think retail adoption has happened yet. A lot of people talk about retail adoption of the Solana chain or retail adoption of the Ethereum chain, but David Schwartz is telling you we haven't even seen retail adoption. All we're seeing right now is some early people playing around with this technology, but it's not adoption. He says the institutional adoption needs to come first. And that might be one of the most interesting parts about all of this. While the rest of the cryptocurrency industry was focused on trying to pull retail into their different ecosystems, Ripple took a much different approach. Instead, they worked with the institutions that already have billions of retail customers and then are going to let the technology trickle down to them. So Ripple only needs to land likely 15 to 20 institutional partnerships to be hitting billions upon billions of people in retail. This is the complete opposite of what most of the cryptocurrency industry tried to do. They said, you know what, we're going to go directly to Ripple, we're going to go directly to retail and cut out the financial institutions. But what David Schwartz is telling you there is that didn't work. They didn't onboard any of the retail. Yes, they onboarded some enthusiasts and some niche people who want to play around with this technology who are super technical. Yes, you onboarded them, but you didn't onboard retail. David Schwartz is saying retail adoption hasn't even happened yet. And in fact, their goal is to go to the financial institutions that have all the retail customers, incorporate the blockchain technology to the financial institutions, and then retail is using the blockchain technology via the financial institution without even noticing it. What cryptocurrency is a new set of rails. It's a new set of financial architecture. And the average retail person doesn't know how their bank operates today and probably won't care of how their bank operates in the future. The thing they really care about is just that things work well. And what the bank wants is the bank wants fast, efficient transactions, and they want to be innovative to keep up with all the players in fintech. What Ripple is doing is upgrading the rails, upgrading the back end of the financial system through these massive institutions that have billions of customers so that everyone gets the power of blockchain technology without having to be an expert on it. I can promise you in 10 years from now, 20 years from now, no one is going to be walking around your average retail customer with a wallet with a seed phrase and paying for groceries with that. They're going to be using cryptocurrency technology. They're going to be using things like the XRP ledger, but for them, things really won't have changed. From the front end, things will look very similar. But on the back end, we're going to have a serious upgrade to the rails that makes money itself flow. And Ripple, in my opinion, has always had the right approach. Stop trying to get one or two people to go gamble on some meme coins and call that crypto adoption. No, get some of the largest financial institutions with billions of clients, upgrade their back end with cryptocurrency, and then boom, you have a sprawling network effect, a growing connection point of this new financial system where essentially you either get on board or get left behind. With that said, though, I want to move over to the XRP price charts real quick because I think we're seeing something pretty interesting right now. Obviously, we've been talking about XRP consolidating within this pattern. This is something that we're just going to have to watch play out over the next couple weeks. It looks like to me this pattern likely ends sometime in the beginning to mid-September. That's where we would expect to have the breakout here, but everything is looking extremely bullish for XRP just trending in here before getting the momentum to break to the upside. Obviously, things were looking a little sketchy as we broke through down here, but just like always seems to happen, XRP has a miraculous recovery back in the middle of this triangle. And if you take a look at some of these other charts, we can see that the direction for XRP is most likely upward. Right now, we are finally seeing Bitcoin crashing out of this dominance channel. This dominance channel was going up for 2 to 3 years. I really started to pay attention to it like right in this time frame because I was like, you know what, this thing, it absolutely has to break down. You just don't have channels go up like this for such a long period. Ultimately, they break, things derail, things move to the downside. And here we have Bitcoin breaking to the downside. Bitcoin dominance about to fall off a cliff, in my opinion. And a lot of money is going to be flowing into things like XRP. And how do we know the money is going to be flowing into XRP? But just take a look at the XRP to Bitcoin price chart. Taking a look at the XRP to Bitcoin price chart, we can see that this thing looks absolutely primed to rip. We had XRP down at the low points later in 2024, early 2025, and now we see XRP just consolidating back on this support right here. In my opinion, it's highly likely we get a huge pump for XRP against Bitcoin as the XRP ETFs get released. In my opinion, a lot of people are likely going to be selling out of some of their Bitcoin ETF to try to get some exposure to the XRP ETF. I'm not calling for some mass flippening or everyone dumping their Bitcoin ETFs and going all into XRP ETFs, but I do think there's going to be a lot of people out there who see the XRP ETF, are sold by the narrative of what XRP is doing, and saying, you know what, maybe I take 10 or 20 or 30% of my Bitcoin ETF position and throw it in this XRP ETF. In my opinion, judging by all these macro indicators, looking at where XRP is positioned on the utility side and investment side, and looking at the charts, it's very hard not to be extremely bullish on XRP right now. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed the update. And for now, Mickle out.